Hi, good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to our webinar, Developing High Performance Team in a Competitive Financial Market. Myself, Viju Joy, I'm delighted to be your moderator for this session today. I serve as the CEO for Corporate Education India. I carry with me 2 decades of experience spanning edtech, banking, and telecom.
Okay.
I had an opportunity to lead large-scale workforce transformation programs across India and internationally, working closely with the government, institutes, and Fortune 500 companies uh, in solving their talent problems and skill gaps. Uh, Skilling and employability is a passion and work. So I welcome you today to a very interesting topic that we have today, which is developing high-performing teams in a competitive financial market of India. Uh, we all wonder that, it's like Indian markets, how big are the Indian markets? Why is India one of the most dynamic and fastest growing financial markets in the world? Uh, and there are various reasons for that. Political stability, major international or domestic conflicts. We are peace-loving people. Uh, Consistent GDP growth of over 7% annually uh, with such a large economy. Median age of 28 years plus, the urban population of over 480 million and growing. The number of demat accounts in India has crossed today a 150 million mark. And just to give you some numbers around the mobile banking users, which is projected to reach over 600 million by the end of 2025. 80% of adults in India now have a bank account. These numbers are more than many countries' populations put together. That's the times that we live in. We are so fortunate to be part of such growing, dynamic financial market, one of the fastest growing. This financial market reminds me of the old days, the Onida TV ads which used to come, which says that, neighbors envy, owners pride, right? We are so proud of this such robust, strong financial markets. And many of these leading financial institutes, the leaders of these leading financial institutes today are there with us discussing what makes these markets grow. Okay, and it's not just the technology. One of the major ingredients is the teams. How do you make these high performing teams in such dynamic markets? So we are joined here by a stellar panel of HR leaders, and these are from the leading banks and financial institutes in India. I take a moment to introduce each of our panel members. Dr. Naipal Singh, Chief Human Resource Manager. Uh, he brings a wealth of experience in human resource management within the banking sector. As the Chief Human Resource Manager at Bank of India, he has been instrumental in shaping talent strategies and leading workforce development. His perspective will shed light on HR transformation in large-scale public sector environment. We have a very strong public sector network, and Dr. Singh would be throwing light on that. Uh, we have Pankaj Khandelwal, Vice President and Head Training, Future Generale India Insurance. Pankaj leads the training function at Future Generale, where he drives skill building, compliance readiness, and performance acceleration. With extensive experience in insurance industry, his work has focused on building scalable learning ecosystem that aligns with regulatory and business demands. Welcome, Pankaj.
Hi, thank you so much.
We have Manavi Nair. She has been a leader in strategy and transformation. She is a strategic leader with vast experience in aligning transformational projects with talent strategies. She brings a rich, multi-sector perspective to workforce alignment and team development, uh, particularly in fast evolving financial environment. Delighted to have you here, Manavi.
Thank you very much, Viju. Glad to
So
be here.
Pleasure. So I would just open and just try to understand from you that how do you see the Indian financial markets and the robustness, and it has evolved in front of you. You guys have been there in the industry from long. How do you see this market evolving and how different it is from the various markets that you see across? Anybody who can just start off.
Okay,
So,
I will just quickly start off. See, when I joined this industry 21 years back, in 2004, I joined this industry. Of course, prior to that, I was with other than insurance industries and was into training. But I started as a sales, into sales function. So when I started, the insurance industry was somewhere around 28,000 or 30,000 crore as an industry. And I'm talking of general insurance alone. Today, we are at 3 lakh crore. So in 20 years, we have traversed this path, and except for two occasions, 2008-9, when there was a global recession, and during pandemic, we had seen lesser growth. But during that time also, we were growing, and this industry has kept a two-digit growth throughout these years after opening up of the industry to private companies also. Today, we are at the juncture where we are talking of so when we started, it was only public sector companies from 1971 to 2000. And in 1999, IRDA, the Regulator and Development Authority, was formed. And from there onwards, we have seen in the industry that there have been humongous strides in penetration as well as growth in the industry. So when we started, the private companies came in with a foreign partner, and the proportion was somewhere 49-51%. Today we are at a stage where we have opened it up completely, and it is 100% FDI also is welcome in the insurance industry. So in the last 20 years, we have traveled this path, and we are around 35-40 insurance companies, including the standalone health companies also. So you see, India has a huge market, it has a huge potential, and penetration is still only 1% of the GDP. So you can imagine, in developed countries and Japan and other countries, the penetration is already 8 to 9% and even more. So we are going to grow, if we are going in the same direction, multifolds, 8 times we are going to grow. And the government and IRDA, the Ministry of Finance, have taken a sort of a goal that by 2040, there will be insurance for every citizen of India. So insurance for all is the goal that has been decided by the government as well as IRDA. So this is how we are seeing the size of cake also increasing. Many participants can come, many people, many organizations can come in India, and they can flourish. Over the next 40-50 years, we see huge possibilities coming in. And now we are also seeing, not only insurance companies which are coming to India, but there are in digital companies, which we say insurtech. So they are technology companies who are participating into insurance. So this space is for everyone, and that is how it is. It has been growing. Over to you, Vijay.
Absolutely, absolutely. Brilliant, Pankaj. Thanks for that insight. So my first question would be for Dr. Singh, that, empowering professionals for growth, how do Bank of India approaches leadership potential? Like, today we are talking about identifying potential leaders who can drive strategic innovation while maintaining operational excellence, because strategy, innovation, and operational excellence is something which has to go hand in hand.
thank you, Viju. And it's my privilege to be part of. I'm audible?
And be a little loud.
I'm audible, sir?
Yep.
Okay. Now it's perfect.
Yes.
Thank you. It's my privilege to be part of that ranges and to share my views here. First of all, what the practices in our organization for identifying the potential and operational excellence in leadership, which go by hand in hand, of course. It's start from the beginning. We have the roadmap from when the officers join to the organization. We have the roadmap how to even more in the hierarchy in the organization, and after the through the some exposures, some area to area cross-functional exposures, and he has to obtain some competencies, gain some experience, and to reach to the hierarchies. And after giving different kind of the exposure and trainings as well, learning experience, we the government also take care of that to focus on the learning and the self-development, upskilling of the executive, so he could reach to the higher positions and take the responsibility on his shoulder. So at the earliest of his age, probably we tried to make it in the officer, the executive reached the highest position in 45 at the age of 45 years, as we have in the different cadres in the organization. First one is workman cadre, another is officer cadre. Workman cadre is it's a subordinate cadre or a clerical cadre. Another cadre is officer, where the officer join in one level to the up to the 8 level. After 8, there's the government positions, the executive director and MD and CEO, which are the government positions. But officer when join at the level 1, he has some experience, go through the different positions, different locations to get experience, geography, cultural shift, and well as the different kind of the work exposure in like rural areas, where we have the mandatory rural experience as well, the semi-urban and urban, metro. So after going through those exposures, those experiences, he reached to the hierarchy of the senior management. After senior management, we have some set of practices like having the psychometric testing, going through some tests, and after a test, we coaching structure, also 360-degree my system also to get feedback for self-development. On the basis of that, he has provided the training as well. So that is also enhance his capability as well to deal the people and understand the system and procedure well, and the culture also, the organization as well, the society. And according when after that exposure and experience, he had operational efficiency excellence also, so he could handle better after so much good understanding of his operational and experience and exposure and working experience. That's
Thank you, Dr. Singh. I like that, how, the organization is making sure that all the leaders go through different, rural, semi-urban, metro cities, and get experience of different kind of customers, because the demographics is somebody who is, that's defining how, what kind of products and what kind of services and regions are divided, how you are providing different kind of services. So that's something really interesting. What is something very, very interesting training which you have gone through, which you felt that, you really liked and you found it very interesting in your bank?
I believe in if you train by the best, you have to be the best.
Yeah.
I have been trained in the best training centers like XLRI, MDI. I have got the training in those such kind of the institute and was sponsored by my organizations and so many others. So similarly, I try to make the people to attend such kind of, to be imparted training in such institutes and beyond, above that level, even IEMs also, and so many institutes, so many available in the market, good institutes also Administrative Staff College of India, and ISB, and other. So big institute also. Some even some freelancers also who has the best trainers in the market. We have to identify and use them on our locations for trainings, and try to get most benefited from their knowledge and skills and experiences. And also we have the mentoring programs for our change cadre officers, like those are having change cadres promotions. So after that, they have been hand holding. They have been given the hand holding to the senior people, so they could have some tacit knowledge be transferred to in the minimum time. So that kind of the things we are having in the organization. And also we try to use, if somebody come having attended some good training and in a branch unit in office, so we try to make that person use that knowledge, that what he has learned there, to share with his colleagues at the table during the lunch time or discussions in the evening or morning, and also share that material what he again, so that could be benefited the minimum investment. So that's why what I have attended training other institutes. I have attended training institute in RBI, in the Bankers Training Center, Mumbai, in Darli, which is no more, and also College of Agriculture Banking in Pune, and also NIBM. So such kind of institute are available, which is have the government back sponsorship. So I always try to our people we get trained in the best, get maximum, and use that.
Fantastic. So I like that, the kind of exposure that government employees and government banks have, and the attitude that they have towards learning is so good to hear. And all the best, Dr. Singh, for such fantastic practices at your bank. Manavi, I have a question for you. As a leader in strategy and transformation, how do you align individual professional development with the bank's broader strategic objectives, ensuring that team growth directly contributes to organizational excellence?
Well, absolutely, Viju. In fact, thanks for asking this question. See, the question that you asked is a very critical point and a very critical KPI for a lot of organization, whether it is financial services as an industry or any other industry which is into a complex business, right? So in this case, Viju, what has worked for me over the last so many years, and worked for even my peers, is more of a AEDR framework is what we call it. This framework primarily talks about four key components, Viju, of aligning leaders with the overall organizational goals and strategic vision. The AEDR, in this framework, the A stands for align, right? So in this component, the leadership needs to make sure that they are the level 2 or the level 1, the leaders at that level are constantly being communicated the strategic vision of the organization, leveraging different platforms and different forums. These could be via town halls, these could be via one-on-one interactions, these could be via any other forum where leadership has the opportunity to come in, to have some discussions with the decision makers, the policy makers of the organization, and understand where really we are headed as an organization. The reason that it helps, Viju, is that because after hearing it consistently and learning about the whys of certain vision, is only when the leadership is also able to create that rippling effect and make sure that the kind of vision that they are trying to align with the organization is also getting cascaded into their individual respective functions or respective teams. Right? So that alignment bit or is very important. How we do it is by ensuring that there is a connective tissue between the policymakers, between the decision makers, and the leadership of the organization. That is the only way that it is possible to be done. The second aspect, or the E in the AEDR framework, is empower, Viju, right? So organizations, in my view, also make sure that the leaders are really empowered to take decisions at their levels. They are really empowered to contribute to the organization's strategic vision, and then to also sort of have a feedback loop, closing out at a level that they are able to understand what is working, what is not working, where things need to be better, and which strategies or which playbooks need to just continue the way they are in a more optimized way. So that close looping need to happen, and for that, the leadership needs to be empowered enough. The leadership needs to have a voice. In the policy making decisions, in the strategic decisions. So that's the second aspect. The third aspect of the AEDR framework is develop. And this is another very critical aspect, and I really advocate for this aspect, which is continuous on-the-job learning. We ensure in large complex organizations that our leadership is constantly developing their skill set, they are developing their soft skills, hard skills, technological skills, which becomes imperative in the overall development of the organization, because it's really the leaders that serve as the engine to the organization. If they are empowered, if they are developed with the right kind of skills, with the right kind of knowledge, is only when they'll be really able to take the organization forward towards meeting its goals. So what I've done in my experience is I've introduced a lot of training modules, introduced a lot of different technologies through which we empower learning, and also tried to ensure that the learning happens while they are also achieving their own goals at the organization. So it's really not mutually exclusive. The learning is through their work. And how we do it is by ensuring that the kind of modules that we use are getting implemented on a day-to-day basis, introducing a lot of technology, now even introducing AI in their learning modules, which ensures that they are learning through working. Right. So that's the kind of methodology that I really advocate for, and that I really have seen working wonders to train leaders. And of course, the last aspect of the AEDR framework is reward and recognition, which you right. So that's again very important, often ignored, but a very important aspect of this framework. Why this helps, Riju, is because through that reward mechanism or through the recognition mechanism only, there is a platform or there is a forum for leaders to come in and to really understand if they need to continue, in the way that they are working, or like I said, there is something that needs to really change. So the recognizing where there is a win is extremely important to be able to then close loop critically on where we are losing certain aspects, right? So I think this framework for me has really worked wonders, as I mentioned before. The various different aspects of this AEDR framework, which I can of course dive deeper into, how to ensure alignment, how to ensure empowerment, how to ensure development, and how to ensure recognition. But that's something that also works differently for different organizations, right? Because the way that business is done, the way that leadership is aligned, is also very different for different organizations, and it has to be customized. While the framework itself remains constant, but the execution aspect of this framework has to be customized depending on the size of the organization, whether it's a mid-size, large scale, or a small scale organization. It has to also be customized based on where the organization is in terms of its stage, whether it is, in terms of the revenue, whether it is on a certain range of revenue, whether it is still starting out, whether it is at a PMF stage, etc. So depending on how the organization is positioned in terms of its size and scale, and how it is also aligned to grow, the execution of this framework has to change, but the key concepts, the key fundamentals remain the same, and that I've seen really working well.
Fantastic, Manvi. I love the knowledge that you have around the strategy and how you implement that strategy. Follow-up question to this, question is very interesting, that we always hear that culture eats strategy for breakfast, right? So how do you ensure that while you are the one who is designing the strategy, how do you ensure that you also make sure that there is a culture of acceptance of this strategy?
Absolutely. In fact, I would tell you, Viju, that one of the key roadblocks or bottlenecks in a strategy being executed is really the adoption towards it, right? Whether it is a new strategy, it is a new process, it is a new SOP, or it is a new tool or technology. Adoption really becomes a challenge. The reason for that has been observed, Viju, is that there is always a little bit of an inertia that is being observed in adopting to change, right? In adopting to new ways of working. There's always a little bit of inertia. But how do we convert that inertia into an actual opportunity to communicate the value of that change is really where leaders come in the picture. And I think I have seen it in my teams as well. I really take that inertia as the real opportunity to establish the value of the new strategies or of optimizing or sharpening the existing business contours. This only happens through communication. The communication of strategies of why this will work for us needs to be ensured that this is socialized very well into the organization, into the key decision makers. Like I said, it is socialized in a way that it is supposed to add value to their day-to-day work. It is supposed to add value to the way that they handle their teams, the leaders handle their teams, and not to really be a gatekeeper, or not to restrict leaders from empowering their teams, or not to restrict leaders from achieving their goals, but to really be a catalyst. Strategies has to have to serve as catalyst and for leaders to really achieve their goals, and for the organizations to finally be successful. So I think the answer to your question is communication. The communication needs to happen in the right way, with the right language, in the right tone, to the right people, through the right channels. So these are some very important metrics that need to be considered while really framing a strategy and also socializing a strategy with the leaders. And as you rightly mentioned, that culture needs to come in gradually. It's a step-by-step process. It totally depends on where you start from, of course. But it's not an overnight change. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. It takes resilience to be able to stick to certain strategies, to stick to certain transformative decisions. But again, through good communication, through timely communication, and through consistent communication through the right channels to the right people is how I've observed things coming to life, leaders coming on board, and the execution really then showing its real value.
Fantastic. I love when you said that inertia is a place to reinforcement of the benefits of the strategy.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's a very valid point that you say. And I have seen that many times when we implement any roadblock, any inertia, we get hassled. We might
Yeah.
be aggressive. We might not find this point as a point where we can reinforce the strategy and the benefits of that. I really appreciate the kind of answers that you're giving. Manvi, I love to know what are the innovative learning and development programs that you have seen banks implement to ensure that professionals can rapidly reskill, upskill in response to the emerging technological and market trends.
Well, I would give you this assurance, Viju, that banks especially are on the top are at the top in terms of ensuring that the different leaders are really, really well equipped to lead the organization. They are in the right direction to guide the leaders to the right place, to the right point. How we do it is basically that we make sure that we are aligning the capability matrix with the learning opportunities, right? So how banks make sure that leaders are learning, they are learning in an agile method, right? So we create a capability matrix, Viju, where we write down and we zero down on the different capabilities that we see as probably scope of improvement, or maybe areas where our leaders, if equipped with those kind of capabilities, would really would really take the organization or take the bank forward, right? So from that standpoint, different banks that I've observed in my experience, or different financial institutions, even NBFCs for that matter, they do collaborate with a lot of educational institutes, whether it is the IIMs of the world, whether it is NCR, whether it is ISP, to create very customized, curated programs, which are focused towards financial services, which are focused towards how credit flows, which are focused towards what RBI has to say, about banking, and it is really leading our leaders to take the right call at the right time. So I have been heavily involved in curating these learning programs and these training programs for different leaders of the financial services institutions, on making sure that they're really ahead of their game, Viju, right? They're really ahead of their game in taking the financial calls. So I think customization, curation of very specific programs, and mapping the capabilities with the skills is something that has really worked out for us, and that will continue to work out. I think the right people need to be on board to assess that capability gap, or to assess what capabilities will really add value for different functions at the financial services institution, right? It could be treasury, it could be liabilities, it could be assets, it could be cards, it could be overall products. So for all these different functions, what are the right kind of capabilities? And then we partner with the right educational institutes as well to curate those specific programs, and then execute those programs in the right way as well. So that's something that really has worked out for us.
Fantastic. I understand that, what you said is very important, that, skill mapping and then customization to the person,
Absolutely.
to the work that he's doing. The
Yeah.
learning cannot be separated from the work. It has to
Yeah.
be reflecting at the work. So
Yeah.
thanks, Manavi.
Sure.
Pankaj, insurance have been the early adopters of technology and trends, and I think they have done it fantastically well over the years, and they have completely transformed from, insurance to insure tech that we hear here today. So how do you see insurance industry as a whole going through this transformation? Because you've been in this industry for long, and how do you see the manpower, the training, the skill sets getting aligned to this transformation? You are muted yourself. You have to unmute.
Thank you, Viju. Uh, we have a big sister here, the banks. We are following in some in some respect. We are following the banks on the digitization, because banks started a little early. Insurance started a little late. But then you rightly mentioned that InsurTech has really driven the new era insurance. And we are seeing that there are many companies who are not calling themselves as insurance companies predominantly. They are technology companies coming into insurance, and they are really driving the way insurance is understood, is sold in the market. General insurance typically is a push product. You all know that nobody buys, there's no instant gratification while buying any insurance product. So mostly world over, it is a push product. And when people encounter claims, then they realize the importance of it. But till then, you have to just, you know kind of make them aware and let them choose the right products. um, when we started way back, two things started simultaneously: opening up of this industry and uh, the technology part. So we were, trying to integrate both together, having, a major task of doing the business which was only restricted to government institutions earlier, and then, the private parties came in. And secondly, the technology also started rapidly disrupting the earlier models. I'm saying disrupted because it has really disrupted the earlier model of distribution, earlier models of, even underwriting, claim processing, and to an extent distribution as well, and operations, policies, proposals being converted into policies. So one part where we found that, because this industry was opened up late, we had limited manpower, the pool of talent was limited, and we were grappling with the existing talent pool, and getting new people into the into the insurance sector was a difficult task. When I joined, I remember in 2004 I entered into insurance industry, and I entered as a trainer only. So when I was training the agents who were like 12th pass people who are doing this business and struggling to do the business, they used to come and ask me that, is there any position? Can I get a job in your company? So an individual agent asking for a job. Today we see that many of the employees, after working in the insurance, they come and say that, can I start my own business and leave the job? So you see the transformation, and they are all absolutely domain experts. They have understood the technology behind the insurance working, and they are completely onto it. They start small, but then in few years, I have an example, recent one retail broker I met, and he started 4 5 years back. Today is at 300 crore. So very quickly they scale up with the help of digitization. Now when it comes to understanding technology and ensuring that every employee uses technology to the optimum, it's a difficult task, because digitization or digital transformation is not about the systems, it is about people. People have to understand and start using that. So constantly we have to make people aware of the new tools. They practice it in during the training programs. We bring in all types of process changes that we have done using the technology, and we also take them behind the technology working also, how it has come into place. So a lot of our training programs are a combination of understanding the domain, the insurance fundamentals, then technology, behaviors, because we are dealing with customers, and it's a intangible product, so customers don't see or feel the product. So lot depends on the person who is the face of the organization. So people who are into sales and distribution have to be trained on the right behaviors also. In our context, the company has come up with LTP behaviors, lifetime partner behaviors. So our company believes that from our side, we will never leave a customer. Customer may choose whether to continue or not, but from our side, once we enter into a relationship, we will see everything to retain that relationship. And that is why the LTP behaviors, the training around LTP behaviors is right from the top to the initial people also. The LTP stands for lifetime behavior, and the four behaviors that we talk about are human touch, first of all. Second is ownership. Third is simplification. And fourth is innovation. And all these four behaviors are to be practiced, demonstrated, internalized, displayed in our behavior. Because people buy on the basis of trust that they have in the insurance company. And company means the people who are frontline and all the managers and everybody. So we do a lot of training apart from, I'm saying, digital training. We do a lot of effort on these behaviors so that our customers will find value in us, and they will, for the whole lifetime, they will stay with us, because they have a choice. After every 12 months, they can shift to any other company. It's a 12 months contract in insurance, especially in general insurance. So our training programs are, one more point I would like to mention here is that, and I think it's true for my other expert panelists also here. In every industry, we find that getting people engaged in training is a big task. And as we keep on saying that, the attention spans are decreasing day by day. You know, even the goldfish has a better attention span than human beings. But then engaging people is a big task. And once we get a participant in the room or in the virtual classroom also, we try to provide all the dimensions rather than a single dimension training. So we involve digitization, we'll involve domain training, as well as skills and behavioral training also. So all our programs are blended. It's a mix of all the 4 or 5 aspects, and that is how the engagement is happening very well. And we also use a lot of assessments. So after every training program, whether it is a process training or product training or skills training, we use assessments. And the assessments, immediately now, because of the digitization, it's easy to declare the results, understand where people have to improve, and continue with the learning journey. We have created journey for all the departments and all the channels, distribution channels. So for every department and for every specific role, there is a proper training intervention chalked out. And we definitely, I mean, sometimes the timings, the duration and timings matter a lot, but then we try to ensure that every employee is taken, and also the intermediaries. I'm talking of the agents and the people who are tied up with us as associates, bank assurance people. They are taken through that journey so that they scale up. They understand the insurance business in much deeper this thing, and also the technologies that we are using. So a lot of training happens over it. And apart from that, see, we are a small team. If we talk about the training team, we are a small team of 15 members in India, and they are multi-site. But we have two LMS platforms, learning management system platforms, and that is how we manage a large number of participants. My team alone trains around 45,000 participants every year. Yeah, that's a big chunk, with 15 members, and two people out of that also are coordinators. So we try to manage the whole gamut through blended learning, that is digital learning as well as physical learning, phygital learning. So that is how we are trying to cope up with this disruption.
Those numbers are amazing. 15 people training so many people, 40,000 people.
True. Yeah.
45,000.
Sometimes when I see the reports, I feel that it is incredible how we. But then, of course, technology has helped us a lot. But I'm telling you that many of our programs are physical also, because
Yeah.
the associates, the channel partners prefer coming down to a training hall and sitting with the trainer, understanding it completely. On digital tools, sometimes the reachability is high, but then the understanding comprehension, sometimes you may not actually gather it properly, okay, during the training. So we have a blended. We don't make it compulsory that you have to be virtual only. If they want to come physically, they can come, and the trainers are always there.
So from your answer, I want a curiosity is that, what is the adoption of generative AI tools in the industry, in your company, and the industry? Do you think most of the employees are using it, or it is not allowed? How's the adoption?
Yeah, see, it is at a nascent stage, and we have had a lot many training programs around AI. So
Mhm.
basics are clear. Organization also has certain, data privacy norms, because insurance is such a legalized business like banking. So we have to be very, very careful about our customers' data, our channel partners' data and all that. So AI tools are, we have made aware in the industry. If you ask me, everyone talks about AI, but the usage is like 20%. Honestly, I'm talking of the whole industry, and I have been at different forums where I keep interacting with other industries also. There also the uptake is small, but everyone is curious about it, everyone is talking about it, and I think that is the way ahead, that everyone feels the need for it, uh, although it may not be immediately in their grasp to completely have the technology. And certain restrictions, you can't use open AI because the company's data cannot go outside the organization. So that is there. But we see a lot of help assistance coming from AI. And we are talking about agentic AI also, where it works as an assistant, and in the organization also you can um, uh, keep the data privacy also intact. So AI is at the horizon. I mean, some usage is there, but complete usage is still not there in the industry. Yeah.
So is there any guidelines on AI around in the company, or is there, yet to be
Yeah.
formed?
Yeah, in the company there is a guideline, but in the industry there is still no. guideline that has been, completely designed for it. But I'm sure the guidelines will soon be developed. But right now, we are using it partially. We are not
Okay.
using it completely. It's a
Okay.
partial uptake in the organization.
Okay.
L&D, HR functions are using it. Certain other functions are also using it, and strategic, teams are definitely using it during their planning and research discussions. But as
Okay.
an industry also, we are still, using, not optimally using it.
Okay, Pankaj, one very important question for um, the insurance industry. This industry is known for its high pressure environment. So, how does your company make sure that along while you develop the technical skills, you also ensure that emotional resilience, all those softer aspects of
Yeah.
the the culture part or the emotional resilience, those aspects are also built in the leadership. Because one of the companies we were discussing, they said the leadership does not have this. Why should I train the junior staff on that? So, how do you see this industry? And since you've been training them, how do you see emotional resilience a part of training manual?
Yeah, one thing is that, uh, whether we directly touch upon the resilience and emotional aspects of it, but I think it is largely a cultural issue. Okay, so even if there is a training program which trains people and manages on it, but culturally, if your organization isn't really resilient and, having a culture of openness, then it is a problem. Because many a times, we have seen that in the industry or outside the industry also, that organizations show some kind of willingness to, to their employees. They show that we are open and we want you to enjoy the work, have fun. But that is only an event based. It's not the culture of the organization. Then there is a problem. But when the whole organizations, from the top to bottom, everybody is appreciative of your work, there is an openness, they discuss, failures are also appreciated, then there is a culture of openness. And I think, um, of course, training programs can always showcase that culture, or bring in some cases that this is how we deal with, stress, or resilience and things like that. But I think it is largely how the management also takes interest in that on a daily basis, how it is creating a visibility about it. So our core values only talk about it. The four core values that we have is: first is deliver on promise, then value our people. It's our second core value. So
Mm.
we believe that employees are to be valued, they not just be appreciated, but we make every effort to ensure that the employee is at a level where they can optimally enjoy the work. They feel like being owners of the work or the task. Third is live the community. We also tell them that, and this also becomes a part of our training programs, that whatever is the culture around in the society, you have to be observant of it. You cannot be away from it. You have to
Yeah.
imbibe it. You live the community. And last value is the being open. So the core values themselves in the organization, and everybody from top to bottom, everyone practices that. And we constantly, whenever we have town halls, or we have informal gatherings and meetings, we generally, fairly talk openly about what's not going well with the organization, kya develop karna hai, what should be, what's not making customers happy, let's talk about it and discuss it. We don't pin down a department, ye aapka kaam hai, you have to do it. And so we all together try to, come up with solutions. So in our training programs, how do we do it? We have cross-functional trainings also, where we invite different departments. And when we, even if we are dealing with, let's say, something on the distribution or maybe on underwriting, we invite all other members also, so that they can also have their views. They can also empathize with the team which has the problem at hand. And that is how we try to create this, because in insurance one thing matters a lot. The the customer is everything for us, because customers premium, we are custodians of customers premium. It's not immediately a profit for us till the last day of the financial year. We are just custodians of it, because last day pe bhi claim aa sakta hai, and that can be a huge claim which can wipe out all your premium generated and the profits also. So we have to be very very cautious about um, the customer. So we don't treat customer as a policy holder or a claimant or just a code number, something like this. We treat them as human beings. We give them everything that we know very openly, whether it is the exclusions, conditions in the insurance, everything we clearly tell them, because sometime in their journey they are going to encounter a claim, and that is the moment of truth where they will test us whether whatever we committed maybe 4 years 5 years back, are we standing on that correctly or not. So there's a lot of training around, and we keep saying that, in insurance the first thing that you have to in your behavior you have to bring in is be a good human being. Other skills, technology, everything will help you, but customers will choose you only when you are a good human being. So that's the whole point.
Absolutely. I think these are words of wisdom, Pankaj. Thanks for sharing this absolutely in-depth, walkthrough through the company's in insurance sector, how this whole training is happening. I was really impressed by the LTP behaviors which you said, which is the first time I'm hearing this. And it's so good to understand that, how you are so close to the customer that you don't want to leave the customer. No, the customer can choose, but you would not love to choose the customer to let go of you. Fantastic. Now we have two questions for the entire panel. Anybody of you can choose to answer. It's an audience question. This has come from Kenya. The question is, could you share a successful initiative where internal mobility uh, has been used as part of the training and development? Shall I repeat the question?
Yeah.
Could you please share a successful initiative where internal mobility has been used as part of internal training and development? So has been people moved into different departments, and where their learning and development has been used as given different roles and responsibilities, or it is just that learning and development is happening through the tried and tested methods.
So can I go ahead, or?
Yeah, please, please.
Yeah, I think Dr. Singh wanted to say something. Yeah, please go ahead.
I think we have a challenge with the connectivity. Meanwhile, we have Hina Bhatia, who is the Chief Manager, Learning and Development, Voice Channel, ICICI Bank joined us. Hina, thanks for joining. I understand that you were, trying to get on time, but due to some reasons you could not. But it's very important because we're having a fantastic discussion around learning and development and BFSI. And you hold a very critical portfolio with ICICI Bank, which is voice channels. So I have a question for you that in the voice channel, which requires high emotional intelligence and technical skills, what unique training methodologies does ICICI Bank employs to develop professionals who can deliver exceptional customer experience?
Hi, Viju. Thank you so much for this question. I have been associated with ICICI Bank for almost 10 years now, and for last 5.5 years, I have been handling learning and development function as a cluster manager for the voice channel. And what you asked is a very important and good question. And at ICICI Bank, we value our customers. We definitely want our customers to be happy and to have a great experience when they call us, because it's a voice channel wherever where we have inbound and outbound calls both. So in the inbound calls, our RMs or the employees, make calls to the customers and they receive calls from the customers, whether it is related to some service, some related to some queries, or maybe, they might have complaints, they might have some requests also. And when they do outbound calls, they make calls to their customers, or sometimes, they're mapped customers also. That is the e-relationship managers, which we have here. And they try and provide service, and they try and provide the right product to the customer based on their requirements. So definitely, we recognize at ICICI Bank and understand the importance of equipping our employees with the right skills and knowledge, which would help them to, deliver exceptional customer experiences. And to achieve that, to help them, to achieve this, we definitely train our employees in several ways, and we adopt a multifaceted training methodology wherein we provide multi-skill training so that all our employees are well acquainted with all the products and processes. So we basically focus on multi-skilling training where, and to ensure that our teams, our relationship managers have in-depth knowledge about all the products and processes, which will help them to address the customers' queries effectively. And from time to time, we also take capability building initiatives for all the employees where we, conduct various kinds of tests and AOLs and to evaluate their expertise, to evaluate their knowledge levels in complex queries and scenarios. And based on their scores and performance, we identify the areas of improvement and address those gaps by conducting various refresher training sessions, by conducting targeted refresher training sessions on topics or on subjects where we feel that they require additional support. Secondly, we also, there have been a lot of developments in the past 1.5 years in the learning and development function specifically. We have created various digital learning tools to make learning fun, to make learning easy and quick for them, and to provide interactive and engaging training experiences to our employees. And these tools also help them to develop technical skills, stay updated on the product information. So there are basically two things which we emphasize or which we focus on. One is the technical aspect, another one is the behavioral aspect, as you mentioned about emotional intelligence, empathy, communication skills. So as a part of the voice channel, these two things are very important. One is your knowledge, product and process knowledge. Number two is your behavioral aspect, where we are talking about, the emotional intelligence and the empathy, with which the RM or the relationship manager or the, employee needs to connect with the customer on a deeper level, so as to be able to understand and empathize with the customer, whatever concerns and queries the customer is coming up with. So as I said, we have created a lot of digital learning tools also to make learning fun and easy. And in addition to the product and process, as I already mentioned, that we also emphasize on the behavioral aspect. We emphasize the soft skill training to enhance the emotional intelligence, to enhance the empathy and communication skills, which will help our professionals to connect with the customers on a deeper level, and hence provide personalized solutions. And to further reinforce learning, we also use some techniques like buddy calling, where we pair our employees with the new employees, specifically with the experienced team members, to have a hands-on experience. We also introduce or incorporate mock calls and role-playing techniques, and have them role play different customer scenarios. And these methods allow our teams to practice handling real life customer scenarios in a supportive environment. And by combining these training methodologies, we empower our professionals and teams to deliver exceptional customer experiences so that we could drive customer satisfaction and loyalty for ICICI Bank.
Thanks, Hina. One of the questions which keeps coming since you're handling voice channel, and our topic is developing high performance team. And one of the most important criterias is psychological safety for building high performance team. And when we hear a lot of news that voice channels are going to be replaced by chatbots and the AI tools, and I'm very sure that your teams are also aware of that, and that the wave tsunami of the chatbots are going to come, the agentic AIs are going to come. How do you keep the voice channel employees, the psychological safety in them, that things are going to be happening. It's all about upskill. Are you doing certain training programs, or how do you address this issue?
I think as far as the psychological safety of the employees is concerned, I don't think that, anybody has any kind of inhibition or a fear in their minds that, this will be replaced by AI, or AI driven tools or chatbots. Although we do have chatbots, we do have a team who is specifically looking after the technologies and, the various AI driven tools which require to be used in the voice channel. However, I think there is a requirement of, there's a balance which needs to be maintained. And I think AI, I'm sure AI will never, I'm not going to replace, the voice channel or the employees who are working in the voice channel. Definitely, we would be incorporating, and we are already in the process of doing that. But I don't feel that there is any inhibition or fear in our minds. But however, as far as AI-driven tools are concerned, we are also, as I head the entire content development team here, so we do use a lot of tools, digital learning tools. We are also using certain AI-driven tools to craft learning resources, to craft various digital learning tools, to make our employees' life easier and to make learning fun, quick, and easy, yeah, for them. Yeah.
Thanks, Ina. It was somebody who has done it and understands that what is the on ground staff feeling about it. Because at times, what I feel is we blow it out of proportion. The fear factor that AI is going to come and take over, and when you reach out on the ground, you realize the impact is of the impact is probably not going to happen in next 7 8 years or 10 years. Maybe it's a long way. We are very far from them. So thanks everybody for this engaging discussion that we had. It was really wonderful to interact with leaders of learning and development, and who are doing these transformational work with the finest of the financial institutes in India. As we conclude today's engaging discussion, one theme has stood out loud and clear: in a competitive and evolving financial market, building high performance team is no longer just a strategic priority. It's a business imperative. It is married. Uh, Very interesting concepts we came to understand. I was pretty impressed by LTP behaviors, that you don't let a customer you don't let go of a customer. And Hai Manvi was talking about inertia is the best place to reinforce strategy benefits. Right. So thanks everybody. Thanks for your time. We at Regenesis are committed to create this platform where we bring leaders of different sectors come together, discuss what should be the learning and development at the particular sectors. We hope this session today has sparked ideas, inspired actions, and offered practical tools you can take back to your team. So all the audience across the globe who was connected with us, thanks a lot, and hope you have a nice week. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.